On behalf of the Humanities and Social Sciences team here at the St. Albans Primary School, we would like to invite you to the Year 3 Open Day. We, as a teaching team, aim to provide a safe learning environment where the students are all treated equally and promote diversity. The goal of our Humanities unit is to offer students the opportunity to develop a deeper understanding and an appreciation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. The students will be able to engage in reconciliation, respect, and recognition of one of the world's oldest living cultures. The Australian Humanities and Social Sciences are the study of human behaviour, interaction in social, cultural, environmental, economic, and political contexts. The agenda of the Humanities and Social Sciences have both a historical and contemporary focus, from personal to global context, and also consider possible challenges for the future. Students studying through humanities and social sciences will develop the ability to be critical thinkers, questioners, problem solvers, effective communicators, and lastly, to be able to make decisions and adapt to change.
The importance of including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives in primary classrooms will allow equality between students and the opportunity for the students to gain knowledge of the First People. It will also break down the walls between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people and create a healthy community. The students will also gain knowledge of the history and circumstances of events that have affected the First People and why we need to respect and understand their perspectives. Students will learn how the history has affected today's society, and when students learn and understand about the Aboriginal culture, they will become more aware and respect the land that they live on. Having the children understand this knowledge will allow future generations to be able to reconcile and create a better future for our community. Teachers are able to promote the history of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders through cross-curriculum. This is when they integrate topics through various subjects. One way teachers can also do this is by creating whole school activities to understand significant dates such as National Sorry Day, which commemorates the stolen generation. We can also recognise and appreciate the land, which will allow the students to be respectful, be compassionate, and be proud of our land. The triple R stands for respect, relationships, and reconciliation. Teachers use this to aid them when teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children. They address the focus areas of 1.4, which is the strategies for teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, and 2.4, which is to understand and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. The source provides teachers with the knowledge to increase and gain professional standards of teaching. It also provides activities for the teachers to use that are appropriate when informing students. It allows teachers to become more aware of the cultures and the right way to provide students with the right information. Teachers being taught the right information will create a higher standard of knowledge. Teachers using the techniques of review, revise, and refresh will keep the teachers refreshed with information and techniques. That will then provide students with a great education. As teachers, we have the opportunity to connect and enrich our students with knowledge about the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Giving the understanding of the culture, traditions, and perspectives will help the walls be broken down and to emerge a blissful community. Us future teachers have the power to make a social change, including influencing social attitudes and the extent of which all Australians are included in society.
The word pedagogy comes from the Greek language, which means the art of teaching. The term pedagogy is about learning, teaching, and development influenced by the cultural, social, and political values we have for children. It is a process which you have to create for a student so that they are able to take the subject matter that they are trying to learn and make their own understanding out of it. Content should be presented within a learning strategy to create a cognitive learning process which allows all the assets to be put together to enable a correct learning process for the children. A pedagogy that is relevant to the curriculum while being culturally appropriate or correct with an engaging and stimulating environment is extremely important for the children's well-being, as it will maximise the children's learning possibilities. Why is a pedagogy important? In order for the students to achieve positive outcomes, educators need to provide students with a strong foundation of learning, as all students learn differently. All teachers do have different types of pedagogy, which shows why Gardner's model of intelligence is of extreme importance. Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences model is a perfect example of how all children learn differently and how teachers need to adapt to every one of these child's needs. There are 8 key intelligences within Gardner's theory. These include linguistic, which are people who learn through written words or spoken language; logical, are mathematical learners, so learning through problem solving and experimenting; musical, are people who enjoy learning with music, rhythm and sound; spatial, are people who learn by seeing, so being aware of their surroundings and taught through drawings and verbal speech; bodily, are people who learn through carrying out physical activities and have a strong use of body language; interpersonal, are people who work well with a group of people; intrapersonal, are people who understand themselves as learners through reflection and solo achievement; naturalist, are people who love learning through nature and having hands-on experiences.
Here are examples of practice and on-country visit to Banja Luka. Students are able to explore the diverse culture of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' connections with country place and their economic, cultural, spiritual and aesthetic value of place, including the idea of custodial responsibility. The artifacts include displays of handcrafted objects by the first peoples of this country, providing a connection to the ancient past and maintaining traditions for future generations. Cross-curriculum priorities also encourages viewing the histories and culture through the lens of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, using primary and secondary sources to further identify, connect, as well as uphold the importance of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The on-country visit provides opportunities for students to develop humanities and social sciences understanding through key concepts including significance, continuity and change, cause and effect, place and space, interconnections, roles, rights and responsibilities, and perspectives and action.
I'm going to talk about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and the professional standards for teachers. The Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, developed by the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, outlines what teachers should know and be able to do. The standards are grouped into 3 domains. I will only be talking about the professional knowledge domain, which is divided into 2 parts. Standard 1, which is know students and how they learn, and Standard 2, which is know the content and how to teach it. In particular, I will focus on Professional Standards 1.4 and 2.4. Modules for Professional Standard 1.4 include understanding myself as a teacher, understanding cultural competence in teaching practice, understand learners and learning, develop a culturally responsive curriculum, creating effective learning experiences and connecting through the profession to schools and community. Modules for Professional Standard 2.4 include protocols for engagement, culture and language, identity, history, policies and practices, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander societies, cultural diversity, right and socio-economic justice, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander societies, global citizenship and celebration.
How do we assess students' learning in humanities? Originally, assessing students' learning in humanities consists of numerous amounts of written tests and assessments. However, learning and understanding humanities does not entirely work through written tests. Learning about the history of one allows students to embark on their curiosity and imagination through physical, psychological, and mental assessment. Micro-assessments are a great way to constantly assess the capability and progress of each child's knowledge regarding Australian humanities. Awareness of history is an essential characteristic of any society, and historical events, which include knowledge, is a fundamental system to understanding ourselves and others. Assessment of students' work. Through understanding the humanities requires different aspects of the brain. Knowing words of Indigenous tribe is one thing. However, understanding the context behind the word is another thing. Incorporating micro-assessments such as mini quizzes at the beginning of the lesson highlights the students' strengths and weaknesses and highlights the areas they need to work further on. Adding a twist to each lesson is another way to keep the students engaged and intrigued in the assessment. The reward system enforces positive attitudes and reinforces the assessment aspects of humanities. Assessments as such are proven to be not only educational, however effective regarding the understanding of the learning abilities and performance of the students. Further highlighting upon microassessments, it is mandatory that all educators are aware of the importance of this to ensure all students and children are learning, gathering, and gaining positive feedback about their assessments. This method allows educators to keep a running record of each student's progress. Encouraging students to participate in class discussion and activities allows them to become capable learners in the environment, not only as individuals, however, as a group also. Celebrating students' work. Celebrating the students' work is a major part of how students are able to reflect and obtain the knowledge they sustained. It doesn't necessarily revolve purely around marks and grades, rather than displaying and rewarding students for their tremendous efforts and goals they have achieved. By simply adding the students' work around the classroom encourages them to interact, discuss, and reflect on what they have learned. Putting a reward system in place further promotes the positive energy, encouraging students to listen and learn about the Australian humanities. Not only do students get a thrill when their work is displayed, however, their self-esteem is enhanced, which follows by great achievements. Another method that is successful is a means of celebrating the children's work through celebrations itself. Whether it is a dance in front of the whole school, a luncheon with their class members or family members, their achievements are constantly recognised.